Hello and welcome. My name is Matt Scherer. I'm with PMA Practice Transitions, and I cover the Ohio and Western Pennsylvania area. Sorry about that. I primarily help dental professionals in buying and selling practices. My colleague is
Joe Gordon, and I do pretty much the same as Matt, but I do it in Indiana and northern Kentucky. Today we're going to talk about types of dentistry and the type of services that either you're currently doing or if you're looking to buy a practice, the type of work you would like to do. Why do we think that's important, Matt?
Well, Joe, obviously if you're buying a practice, you've got to look at the mix of dentistry that the dentist does, right? So if the dentist is doing ortho and endo and oral surgery, and your dentist who doesn't like to do ortho, endo, and oral surgery, why are you buying a practice?
Exactly.
Right? So from a seller side, you have to look at also the type of dentistry that you do, because if you are a higher, what we call a higher end dentist, you're doing higher end procedures and things like that, potentially you shrink down your buyer pool a little bit, because a lot of general dentists coming out of school are just that, general dentists. They're not doing the high end cosmetic type stuff.
We need to match that up with our expectations and what we're going to do. There are a number of practices, though, that let's say we run into buyers who like to do endo, who like to do oral surgery, and the practice is currently referring out that work. That's a huge additional source of revenue. It can be 20-25% increase on day one.
Absolutely.
Just by providing those services. And you'll see that with some of the older practitioners that we work with.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think when we talk about the type of dentistry as well, we're also talking about, is it a Medicaid practice? Is it heavy PPO? Is it fee for service? And, what are you as a buyer looking to do? Do you like to do Medicaid? I would say, these days most people don't. So if it's a heavily medicated practice, from a selling standpoint, potentially you decrease the value, because again, you're decreasing your buyer pool.
Exactly, and the same thing goes with pediatrics.
Yes.
If you have a general practice, but it has a large population of pediatric patients for whatever reason, again, you may be shrinking down your potential buyers of that, and from a buyer standpoint, is that something that you want to do? I personally find pediatrics to be frightening for me, and I know a lot of general dentists that are the same way. They don't want anything to do with that, and it's appropriate. If you're going to be a pediatric practice, be a pediatric practice.
Absolutely. Yep.
So we want you to be aware of these things as you go into buy a practice. We want you to be aware of this as you deliver services and what you are selling.
Yes. Yeah, and I think when you're coming in as a buyer, obviously part of your due diligence is looking at the payer mix and things like that, and looking at what value you could bring into the practice. And I think in a future segment we're going to talk a little bit about price versus value. So, and we're not going to get into it too much in this segment, but that's definitely a segment to look forward to, because I think that's a huge thing when a buyer is looking to buy a practice.
One of my favorite subjects.
Good. So, with that being said, I don't know if you have anything else to add as far as the type of dentistry. But certainly we appreciate you taking time to view this segment, and if you liked it, please give us the thumbs up, share it with your colleagues and friends, and we appreciate your time. Thanks.